What's up guys, Paladin here, and today I'm coming at you with a video on the Dragonflight 10.0.7 PTR. Now, red talents have been updated, and I know it's been a little while since I posted my update video because literally the next day they changed the build again on the PTR and we got new talents. So I'm going to go ahead and go over what the ret and the paladin talent trees look like now. So, and a few things that I've discovered. So, this build right here is currently my favorite build, and it starts off with the choice nodes with improved Blade of Justice and a Light of Justice right here. So it's a very Blade of Justice focus oriented build. Now, last time we had two Holy Blades in the talent tree. That is gone. That is reworked. The Holy Blade that was in the bottom right hand corner now is now called Swift Retribution. So we actually get 3 seconds off of our Blade of Justice between these two talents right here. And now we get 2 charges of Blade of Justice for a cooldown of 8.3 seconds, further reduced by haste. That is pretty insane. Blade of Justice is now, I believe, our top damaging ability. By a long shot, by the way. By a long shot. And that is because of Expurgation here. Where is it? Expurgation. So your Blade of Justice causes the target to burn for 72% of the damage dealt over 6 seconds. Now on retail, you have to crit in order to get the Expurgation. Now it is just a flat burn. And we are going to amplify this with the new talents in the bottom left-hand section of the Retribution talent tree. So the new talents here, which are, it's a little disappointing because I wanted to check out that not yet implemented Wings talent, but it's okay. This one here, not fantastic, but unfortunately we do need to take it in order to get down to physical presence. So, education, critical strike chance increased by 2%. Hammer of Wrath has a 5% increased crit chance and deals 10% increased crit damage. So this pairs nice with Vanguard's momentum, but I'm currently not taking Vanguard's momentum. I'm taking Blades of Light, so Crusader Strike, Judgment, and Hammer of Wrath now deal Holy Strike damage, so that is physical plus Holy. And you might be curious as to why we would take this, because in theory, this only benefits Crusader Strike. Your damage only goes up on the Hammer of Wrath and Judgment if you are taking physical presence. But your Crusader Strikes are now half holy damage, which means half of it scales with your mastery off of Crusading Strikes. So your Crusader Strike or your Crusading Strikes both hit harder because they scale with your mastery now. Now here's where this comes into play. So physical presence increases all physical damage you deal by 20%. So now Judgment and Hammer of Wrath are dealing increased damage because they're scaling off our physical damage dealt. Unfortunately, though, that does mean they now break blind. I did test that out a few times on targets, and blind does unfortunately get broken when you take Blades of Light. So keep that in mind. If you're trying to play an Avenging Wrath build, you might not actually be able to deal your full burst into a blind. Let's go back over to the right side of the red tree. So now we have Penitence. So this was a data mine spell from a few weeks ago, and it made it into the build this week. With 2 out of 2 points, you increase your periodic damage by 30%. Fairly strong. That's great. I like it. Right here, we're going to take Holy Crusader. So there's 2 options here. We have Holy Crusader to make it physical and holy on your Blade of Justice, and then Burning Crusade that makes it fire and holy. Burning Crusade by itself does slightly more damage, just very slightly, unless you are taking physical presence, in which case Holy Crusader ends up dealing more damage. And why are we taking all this Blade of Justice talent, or all these Blade of Justice talents? I will show you on a target dummy. So Ret feels like an assassination rogue right now with the levels of damage that it is doing. We are amplifying our Expurgation through the roof. So it's burn damage. It is a periodic effect. It is scaling off both our mastery and our holy damage. So it's definitely going to get nerfed. Like, I'm not holding my breath. It is very, very strong. It's probably going to get nerfed to scale off of just mastery or just physical. But then that would kind of invalidate the whole point of Holy Strike. It seems like it is double dipping into scaling off of everything. So I go to the PvP dummy over here, hit a Blade of Justice, 32k. Our dots, not only can it crit now, it's ticking for 9.7k. Like, what? That's crazy. 10k? That's a gigantic bleed with permanent uptime. 68k crit right here. It's ticking for 20.5k. That's nuts. That's like the fattest bleed in the game. It's more, I believe it's more than Wake of Ashes. So we are taking Choose Wake here. Unfortunately, we're not taking Seething Flames. Seething Flames, there are builds where Seething Flames might be good. But with the build I'm currently running right here, not amplifying the fire damage, and I'm not taking Burning Crusade here, it's not entirely worth just purely investing into Wake of Ashes as your primary damage dealer. For me, with this build, it is Blade of Justice and Expurgation. Those are your primary damage dealers. But let's test out the Wake of Ashes buff right here. So 63k initial, and it ticks for about 8.7k. AoE ticks as well. So that's big. Also, I believe with this talent here, Blade of Vengeance, we can get some AoE ticks. Let's see here. Yes. So, our Blade of Justice AoE ticks as well. Absolutely insane. So we're going to have AoE bleeds that just shred. Now, there's no point in taking Empyrean Legacy when Blade of Justice is this strong at the moment, unless you're on pure single target. So on single target fights, or duels, or 1v1s, you can take Empyrean Legacy. But anything else, Blade of Vengeance instantly wins because it spreads Expurgation. Even including Inquisitor's Ire, it just like, this damage is a lot. I do fully expect this to get tuned down. I wouldn't be surprised if we see as much as a 20% nerf on it, or maybe even more. But I'm not quite sure where we would see these talents get nerfed, because they can nerf them in a number of different locations. Penitence, the Holy Strike portion, the Physical Presence portion, they could just tune down Expurgation, because I don't think Blade of Justice actually, like it hits hard, yes, but they're also going for harder hitting generators on red. That's the whole point of removing our bursts. There's no more Seraphim. We have to choose between Final Reckoning and Execution Sentence now. Final Reckoning only has the active portion. And I do want to try out more Final Reckoning, but Executioner's Will is currently not functioning for me on the beta, or I'm sorry, on the PTR. So tough to test this one out and rule it out or in for sure. And then a new talent here, Divine Auxiliary. Final Reckoning and Execution Sentence grant 3 Holy Power. I don't think this is going to be that good for Final Reckoning. However, I do think it would be worth it on Execution Sentence, because Execution Sentence is a 30-second cooldown, which means we could essentially have another 30-second cooldown 3 Holy Power generator like our Wake of Ashes, which is now also a 30-second cooldown. I am running the 2 Charges of Judgment because I unfortunately don't have a talent point to take High Lord's Judgment, but I think High Lord's Judgment is really, really good with some of the other builds that are not focused mainly on your generators rather than your spenders, in which case you could switch over to Boundless Judgment. You definitely don't necessarily have to run these together. So if I was taking High Lord's Judgment, I would probably take Boundless Judgment. Because, let me just show you guys what this does here. So if we put 2 points into High Lord's Judgment, we get our next 3 Holy Power spenders are benefiting from the Judgment, not just 1. That's huge. That's not a small buff, right? That's giant. But because, it's 3 stacks, we can probably get away with just running a single Charge of Judgment that generates an additional Holy Power. So both of those are cool. There's a lot of really cool red talents here. Yeah. Did I miss anything here? Oh, just a few side notes. So, Crusading Strikes is not functioning with Crusader's Reprieve. I'm not sure if that's intended. And it is also not functioning with Seal of the Crusader, so I actually do have to switch out of this into, I don't know, literally anything else. We could go... Lightforge Blessings? I don't know. I don't know what I would take. I've still been confused as to what I would really like to run on the Paladin talent tree here. There is a way for us to take all 3 and Divine Purpose, but it's giving up a decent chunk of base stats. So Seal of Might is now 4% Mastery and 4% Strength. And then Seal of Alacrity is 4% Haste with an additional 1 second off of your Judgment. So, Interesting calls. Also, punishment. It does not seem to me that punishment is functioning with Crusader strikes. So if you're going to run this talent here and interrupt the caster, we might have to drop Crusading Strikes. In which case, I would probably drop punishment before dropping Crusading Strikes. I'm now a fan of Crusading Strikes. I could see it getting thrown out, though. It is kind of ridiculous. It's actually really ridiculous how much holy power we get. Yeah. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this update. Stay tuned for a dueling video that is coming. And now just one more little example here. Let me hit a Wings and a Blade of Justice. Let's see if we can get a crit here. So our final verdict still hits really hard. No crits, no crits. That's okay. You guys see this? 19k ticks on this. Oh, I guess a crit on this dummy over here. 19k ticks. That's absolutely absurd. All right. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time. Peace.